Go on. College football. Big debut this weekend. San Diego State Aztecs, they open this week. We got that to talk about. We got the Pac 12 to talk about. And then we got the way the NCAA is operating. I like Sean Lewis. Sean Lewis's resume. John Kentera speaks for himself. What really disappoints me and bothers me is they lost so many players in the transfer portal because everybody was tampering with the Aztecs. They got a lot of players, so it's a brand new team, new coach. Obviously, it's a new playbook. And the other thing that really bothers me, where the hell are all the displaced Charger fans? Nobody who is a Charger fans put their arms around San Diego State. And under Rocky Long, Brady Hoke, for the preponderance of years, has been a pretty good product. I'm really disappointed. The no-shows, the empty seats, Snapdragon Stadium, and the declining season ticket signings. Just don't understand football fan in San Diego. Coach, the floor is yours.
Well, first of all, regarding the tickets situation, Lee, I think you go back 2 years ago, they badly overpriced those tickets right from the get-go. It was a complete money grab, okay? No question about it. They've dropped it. Season tickets and regular season game ticket significantly. Hopefully that's going to bring people back. Hopefully Sean Lewis bringing this fast-paced offense in here, that'll get San Diego fired up. You got to remember, San Diego football was bred on Sid Gilman and Don Coryell back in the 60s, okay? And that's what a lot of people grew up with. And San Diego State hasn't thrown the ball all that well or all that often in the last decade plus, okay? I think a lot of people are going to be willing to come out and sample this product. I like Snapdragon Stadium. I'll be honest, I'm very excited about the game on Saturday. I'm planning on being in the press box and enjoying it. I have no idea what I'm going to be watching against Texas A&M Commerce, okay? Who knows? I mean, you got a freshman quarterback, Danny O'Neal. You have no idea. Nobody knows how this team is going to perform. And you talked about the transfer portal. Yeah, they lost a lot of players, but they brought in 48 new bodies. We'll see of those bodies. They got to be a little bit better at the wide receiver. They had like 2 or 3 pretty decent receivers last year, but they couldn't get them the ball. I think they'll be a little bit deeper there. I think the offensive line is probably a definite work in progress, even though they got 3 of their 5 starters back. But defense, I don't know if they're going to be able to stop anybody on defense. We'll have to wait and see on that.
I don't know if anybody's going to be able to defend what they run, because what they run is unbelievably different. You can't put a defensive package in and cope with what they run. If you go back and if you Google and you saw what he did the first half of the season at Colorado with Shedeur Sanders and how fast tempo and how good their athletes were getting the ball down the field, you go back and look at what he did with Kent State, and Kent State was face down on the gutter when he got there. And within 2 years, they were averaging 600 yards a game moving it. What he did at Bowling Green, what he did at Syracuse. And I think these defensive coordinators in the Mountain West Conference are going to have a heart attack trying to figure out how to slow this thing down. And I think they're just willing to outgun everybody.
Well, that very will be the case. I think fans in San Diego, they'll love it. If it's 48-47 and the Aztecs win and a game-winning field goal at the gun, they'd love that. But again, they were picked to finish 8th in the Mountain West Conference. We have no idea how good they're going to be. Are they going to be a 500 team, or are they going to be another 4-8 team, or an 8-4 team, or 9-3 team? We have no idea right now. And you know what? The coaching staff doesn't either.
I concur. The death of the Pac-12. I'm so offended at what USC and UCLA did to a conference that had been here since 1915. And when they left, then so many mistakes made by the presidents of the university, who they hired to be the commissioner, what he was supposed to do didn't get done. Then Oregon and Washington had to leave because they were facing a loss of enormous amounts of TV money. Then Cal and Stanford made what I thought was unbelievably stupid decision to go to the Atlantic Coast Conference. How's that fit? And you got the 4 corner schools wound up going to the Big 12. I mean, we have no more Pac-12. Is SC and UCLA the enemy for the death of what was a proud conference?
Well, I think Larry Scott, the commissioner at that point in time, who turned it over to Kalivlikov, I think Larry Scott let this conference get away. You know, he was making big money, really didn't do anything significantly. You know what? USC is a private school. They can do what they want. I talked to a board member that was on the committee to allow UCLA, and the person called me and asked me my opinion of what I thought before the vote. And I go, let me ask you this. Aside from money, why would UCLA want to go to the Big Ten? They go, strictly money. And it was all about money. They sacrificed not only their football and basketball programs, they really wrecked it for a lot of kids in other sports as well. I mean, this is mind blowing. It'll be interesting to see how long this thing actually lasts. I could see this thing blowing up, after 4 or 5 years, and I could see the Pac-12 getting back together again. Maybe not all of them, but a portion of them. This is going to be awful exhausting. The travel, the missing of school for the non-revenue type sports. I mean, basketball, I don't think Mick Cronin's happy at all about what's going on basketball-wise. And football-wise, you're going to have a few longer trips, but you go out on the road in football anyways. But that's still going back to the Midwest, and that's going to be awful tough and taxing. It's going to wear your team down as the season goes on.
UCLA, 22,000 miles for 6 road games. USC, 21,000 for 6 road games. And I know you're excited. You're going to definitely get on a plane and follow the volleyball team when they go play Rutgers in Piscataway, New Jersey.
Oh, absolutely. And,
Jeez.
I mean, even then, think about this. And I haven't looked at UCLA and USC schedule all that close yet. But, I mean, do I really want to watch USC play Indiana or UCLA play Minnesota? I mean, seriously. I mean, it's really wrecked college football for me.
Speaking of being wrecked, NIL, transfer portal. Turn your stomach upside down. The NCAA's got to get control out of this. I think they will within a year and a half with an antitrust exemption from Congress. But this thing is so out of control. It's why it's driven the Nick Sabans and the top 4 veteran coaches in the Mountain West Conference away from the game.
Lee, the transfer portal's killing athletes all over because the kids that go into the transfer portal, not all of them are getting picked up. And that's their choice, okay? You got to learn to fight for, a position. Just because you're not number 1 on the depth chart doesn't mean you can't work your tail off and jump over that guy, or if injury comes up and you jump back in there and get your opportunity. But what's really happening, and people have not talked about this, in all the different sports, not just football and basketball, it's affecting all the sports, because what's happening, coaches now are recruiting the transfer portal and they're not recruiting high school athletes. And that's going to be a real problem.
I think it's all going to change, I bet, within a year. The NCAA is going to have to take this back under control. We'll be given it under control under an antitrust exemption. Hey, you're into college athletics? Feel free, jump on board. Fans Forum is open for you to join us now in the chat box. You can ask me, ask him, or tell both of us off what you think about the status of college football.